With restrictions at their loosest since the onset of COVID-19, Filipinos are also opening their wallets more. What does this mean for the residential property market? Let's get the insights of Torre Lorenzo Development CEO Tomas Lorenzo. Tomas, great to have you with us on the final word.
Thank you for having me, Rico.
All right, we've seen all kinds of revenge spending for travel, for shopping and eating. Has there been revenge spending in the property market as well?
Definitely, where our sales, have increased so much post-pandemic. It never really stopped during the pandemic, but especially now, with especially our university residences, school is back to face-to-face. So many of the parents have started to really look for a place for their kids to live, because what came back, if you notice, is traffic. Therefore, living near and around the university is important. It's the way that people are surviving.
Those who live in the south will be buying a condo unit all the way in the north, and those in the north all the way in the south. But prices are not cheap, Tomas, and they continue to rise per square meter, despite a glut potentially in condominium and apartment units.
No, the amount of construction costs have really gone up. That's a given. With problems with the supply chain and all that, and then the world is only getting back to construction. Construction projects take 5 years, 5-6 years. So in terms of pricing, we've actually tried to make it as affordable for our buyers as possible. So longer terms, easier terms, and that's being done. But for university residences, because it's really part of the education budget of our buyers, the Filipino will always spend on education, and #1 priority is education. So we are part of the education budget.
But with higher raw materials, are you passing this on to your buyer?
I think, of course, prices have come up, but so for raw materials, there's also technology has improved. So we do a lot of quality surveying, QS, a lot of ways to lower the cost of construction, to make it faster, to make it more efficient. And the materials that are available now are top quality. What we used to cost so much years ago has become really affordable.
What about the high interest rate environment? I mean, we've seen interest rates soar to 14-year highs. Is this in one way or another impacting demand for your units?
Not really, because it's all about the monthly amortization. And if you're able to manage, especially your payment terms, then it's still acceptable to the buyers.
We have a dime a dozen property developers, whether it be vertical condominiums or horizontal subdivision bedroom communities. How do you stand out? How do you discern yourself from all these developers in the market?
Well, we see ourselves as really more of a boutique developer that just happens to be everywhere. So why do I say boutique? Because we don't do projects all over the place, because everyone is there. We're small enough that we are able to spot opportunities before the other developers see it. That's why we've really gone out of Metro Manila. We started in Metro Manila. We have projects in Lipa, Batangas, Davao City, Davao de Oro. We've really gotten out of the Metro Manila developer mode and really gone to the provinces, because that is where growth is.
There's growth, but is it also profitable?
Yes, quite so. Because, for example, our Davao projects are doing very, very well, selling very well, because people in Mindanao have money. They also need a place to live. They've also developed a taste for the finer things in life. And people no longer, leave their provinces to look for work in Manila because the call centers are in their provinces, etc.
And of course, the dream of every Filipino, when with their hard-earned salary, right, is to own a piece of property. It doesn't have to be landed, but it could be a condominium unit. And that makes them proud that they're the owner of their own property.
That's very true. The Filipino, aspires first for the education of their children and to have some savings and savings through properties. And because of the growth of the Philippine economy and really the very strong and robust young population, these people have to live somewhere.
But I mean, we really saw robust growth for the Philippine economy last year, over 7%, and now the prediction is 6 to 7% for 2023. Does this really translate into our kababayans buying more property?
Yes, because I see it. I see it in the provinces. Even our Lipa project or wherever we put projects outside of Metro Manila, there is a market. Of course, there is the overseas Filipino market that buys, but there are locals. There are locals who are already buying, who see that living in a condominium makes sense for them because they're either empty nesters or they're starter families.
But is this growth sustainable, Tomas, in the property sector, particularly in vertical developments, in condominiums? Because they say there's a glut in units. There's an oversupply.
Well, just think how many Filipinos are below 21 years old. They have to live somewhere. That's tens of millions of people. They don't have any condos yet.
But a lot of critics are also saying that because of this glut, this potential oversupply, it's also a seller's market. And that investors would rather put their money not in a vertical development, but on landed property.
Well, it depends because if you ask people below 30 years old, it's all about the experience. Therefore, why will they buy a lot that they have to drive or commute to an hour and a half every day rather than being right beside or very near their office or their schools? So it's all about the experience.
So in terms of experience, what makes your developments have a different experience from the big developers? What amenities do you have that stand out?
For example, just university residences. Our university residences, we have 25-meter lap pools. We have live fitness gyms. We have yoga studios. We have study lounges for residents and study lounges for residents and their guests. It's a very high-end building in a place where you wouldn't think of finding a high-end property. So that is why people come to us. And why are we doing this? Because we believe that we need to give long-term value to our residents.
And you are investing outside of Metro Manila. Can you give us an idea what are the other emerging urban areas outside of Luzon, in the Visayas and in Mindanao?
Well, we have, of course, our 5-year and 10-year plan all over the Philippines. And we started with Davao because, we're really from Mindanao. And I already saw that 10 years ago that there was a demand. So we put our first high-end development in Davao. Did very well. We put our first hotel in Davao, and it did very well. So it's really looking at, of course, you have the top cities. You have, of course, Metro Manila, followed by Cebu, then you have Davao. But Davao is fast catching up. Why, for example, did we look at Lipa, Batangas? Because weather's great. It's many hospitals, many schools, many churches. Whenever I would talk to the overseas Filipinos when I go abroad and we do our marketing roadshow, they would tell me, I want to move back to Batangas, but I want to move to Lipa because of the weather, because of this and that. So it's a mix of course, getting the raw data and talking to people because we are still a market-driven company.
All the best with your property development company. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Tomas, Lorenzo, the CEO of Torre Lorenzo Development.